Welcome to episode 1. Go pick up the van. So rubber is some kind of, it's like smushy, and they sealed the crap out of it.
I seem like this, but they put putty over it, try to disguise that it's fucked up.
And I am sick. Welcome to episode 1. This is my van life series. Unfortunately, the way that this camera's set up, if I look at the screen, I look like I'm staring off into nothing. So I might have to figure out something about that. So yeah, today is the day when I go pick up the van. Already did all the financing, down payment, all that stuff last week, and now they got it in. And of course, the day to pick up the van is the coldest day of the year and the windiest day of the year. It is, the high today is under 20, and that's not even taking into wind chill. So right now I think it's about 0 with the wind chill. So that's gonna be fun. So I'm gonna go back inside and get warm, and then go pick up the van. So trying out a different way of holding the camera. Hopefully I am in frame. I will find out later when I'm watching this. So the van is here. I got it. It is freezing, so I'm gonna make this quick. So here is brand new Nissan Envy 2500 with the high top. And it is ridiculously cold. So I am going to Alright, so inside the van, and I'm going to work on measuring everything so I can start planning all the specifics for the build. Alright, so I got some basic measurements, and I'm getting the hell out of here and going inside work. So it is day 2, Saturday, and I'm gonna get a quick workout in, go get a shower, and then it is tiny bit warmer today, tiny bit less windy. So as long as my hands don't freeze, I'm going to work on running the wire for the battery isolator. I don't have my solar set up yet, so I'm not going to actually connect the wires to anything because I don't have the batteries in the back. I only have, the front battery. But I just want to get everything in there because I know it's going to be a pain trying to figure out where to run it from the battery into the cab and getting it to the back. And we'll see how far we get with that, and then if I have time we'll do even more fun stuff. Alright, so this is the isolator I'm going to be using. I watched a couple videos about it online. It seems pretty simple option to hook up. So basically this is the isolator. One wire is going to go to the positive part of the van's battery, and another one's going to the positive part on the other battery system, the solar battery system, and then one wire is just a ground wire. So I don't have, like I said before, any of my solar stuff yet, including those batteries. So all I'm looking to do today is to figure out how I'm going to run the wire going from what will be this all the way to the back to where my solar is going to be set up. So that way it'll all be in place, and then I don't have to worry about that once everything else comes. And I'm just going to use, electrical tape just to hold everything in there for now, because like I said, I'm not hooking up anything. I'm just running the wire and then taping it in place, and later on I will kind of finish it off. Alright, so I'm ready to get there with this cable. I don't know how much I'm going to be able to record because it is pretty windy again today, and I don't know if this little tripod is going to be able to stand that. So I will record what I can, and if I can't record a whole lot, I will just show you what I did at the end of it all. Alright, so here is the battery. So it's going to be running from this positive spot here, and I just need to figure out where an opening is to be able to get it into the van, hopefully without having to drill any holes up through the bottom or anything like that. Alright, Alright, so this is what we are looking at so far. Let's see. I was hoping to do that spot right there. This is, they made that like the exact size of that cable coming through there, so there's no way I'm fitting that giant red cable through there unless I make a huge hole. So now I am looking at this, trying to figure out where these wires lead to and figure out if I can get this plastic off of here, and maybe that would be a good option. I looked underneath and I can't figure out where these wires would go to, so I'm trying to get this off. Alright, so I got that hunk of plastic off of there. Next step is to figure out where that leads to. It is so cold out, like I can only be out there for a couple minutes and then I gotta run inside to warm my hands back up and keep running back and forth. So I'm gonna run inside, warm up again, and then come back out and figure out where this leads to and can I fit a wire down in it. Alright, so I just want to show you guys before I start messing with that. Mine was kind of a pain in the ass to get this off of here. So when I was taking off, I could tell that it had this kind of a latch on it, these two. So I was working on getting those off, and it still wouldn't come out. And then once I finally just ripped it off, there's these two kind of locking things on there, and there's no visibility or way to access them on the outside. So once you have these two free, if you're doing the same thing here, just rip the crap out of it and these will eventually pop out. It doesn't seem any other way to go about doing it. Alright, so I've been trying to figure out where this little hole here leads to. I'm crawling around under there in the snow and it's freezing. I can't figure out exactly where it is. So I figure I will just take the wire, stuff it down there, and see if it pops out anywhere. Alright, so I started stuffing and I stopped. I don't see it coming out anywhere. But I think I know what's going on here. I think this cable that they have here is what they have running to the back for all the lights, and you can see all that black cabling going all over the place back there. Just gonna be a bunch of crap I have to rip out. But whatever. And actually, if you look up there, that's probably where I want to go because they have cabling coming in from there, so I'm going to see what I can get going there. Alright, so just to show you what I am looking at here, that circle right back there, some kind of rubbery thing, I'm going to try to remove that. I think that will lead up. I think those are the electrical cables right there that run inside the van, so I should be able to run it right on out. Also, apparently recording video on my phone destroys the battery, so I don't know how much recording I'm going to be able to do. That thing that I thought was just a piece of rubber is some kind of, it's like smushy, and they sealed the crap out of it. So I'm not getting it off there with screwdriver or pliers. So my next idea is just taking a knife and making a slit in it and stuffing the wire through there to go along with the other set of wires that are already in there, and just hoping I don't slit the wires that are in there. Otherwise, I don't know how I am going to get that thing off there. It is really stuck, and it is just way back behind a bunch of other crap. So, I mean, there's no way to really get, two hands in there, and even if you did, I don't think that thing's really coming off of there. So, let's see how this goes. I tried to use a knife to slice it, and then even tried just stabbing it, and I mean, this thing is like impenetrable. I mean, it just, like, you make a dent and then you lift off and it just comes back to shape. I can't get any, actual headway on this thing. So I don't know what my next step is going to be, but I just want to update that. I don't know what I'm doing. So I decided to take a drill and drill into that foam thing, and I put a hole in it, but just the way that piece is, I mean, even when I drill a hole into it, as soon as I take that drill out, if I try to put the wire in, it's just, the foam kind of just closes back up. It's pretty crazy. So I went over onto the driver's side to look to see if I find anything there. There's one piece that actually looked like it had something where you could kind of pull it out, but I could not get that out, even using a screwdriver trying to pry it out along all the sides. I couldn't get any movement on it. So now I am just searching for other options, and honestly at this point, as much as I didn't want to go all the way under the cab, drill a hole and come up, that might be end up what has to happen. So yeah, I'm just looking at a couple other options. There's some kind of ovalish black pieces in the back on the floor, and they have a strange like screw head on it. I'm hoping this is the right shape and size. It looks kind of small compared to the other one. I do have another set of bits, so I might end up having to go into those and see if I have something else. And then I'm going to see what's under those, because I'm not really sure what's under those. Maybe I will get lucky and it will be a hole, and I will be able to run it right up through there. Alright, so my phone is charged back up, so we are back out here. This is what was on there. So it had those strange kind of star screws on there. Open up, and this is what I found. It is just this kind of small hole. Seems like it goes a little bit over there, but I can't really get a good angle on exactly what is back there, how far it goes. There is some kind of a hole there. I don't think you could, you see the light coming through there. I don't know if the wire could fit through there, but I'll see if I can squeeze it back there and find out. And I'm not sure what's going on with this thing here, so I'm also going to take this apart, see what we got going on there. Okay, so that little hole back there actually seems like the wire could fit through there. Kind of hard to show with this, but there is actually metal right underneath it though. But there is a gap like you saw before, the light coming through. So I'm going to see if I can angle it over that way and then get it run through there and find where it's coming from. Alright, so wasn't having luck with that. Decided to move on to this to figure out what is going on with that thing. Unfortunately, all the bits in this case, they are long enough to where I can get it down there and test it out. But of course, once I put it onto the actual ratchet, it ends up blocking it, so it can't get down there to actually be able to turn it. So I'm going to go grab my other set and see if I have something long enough to actually get that thing off of there. Alright, so I don't have anything big enough to get that off. And when I found where it goes underneath, it seems like something that shouldn't be taken off. Looks like it's part of holding up something important. This hole, I did figure out where it leads to, and I got this in there, but there's just no way that something this thick is gonna be able to get in there at that angle and turn, especially with how stiff this cable is. I mean, this doesn't bend for crap other than, you know, the circles that's going in, but otherwise, I mean, I'm using like all my force trying to get that straight. So that is going nowhere there. My next idea is to just say screw it and put a hole probably like right there that can easily come up in that wheel well, and then I'm planning on having my solar stuff all right in this zone right here anyway. But I don't think I have, I do have something that can make holes, but it might make too big of a hole. I'll have to go see it. I think it's like a 1-inch thing that I have, and that's going to be kind of overkill for something like that. And then possibly running to Lowe's today to get something to put a hole in there, and while I'm there taking a look at insulation and plywood to make the floor. It has slightly warmed up because the sun's right here shining in the back here, so that's at least kind of nice, but I mean it's still so cold I can see my breath, so it's definitely still chilly today. Alright, so time to go examine the tools and then possibly take a trip on over to the store. Alright, so back from break to warm up and relax for a bit. Went through here and removed these. I have absolutely no use for these because there's going to be a floor on top of these. They got, I think, 6 total throughout the floor here, going all the way around. So all I'm left with is that.
thinking I might use these as a way to bolt down the wood flooring, and then that way I might be able to get away with not putting glue all over the floor, and then if I decide to change anything, I'm kind of just screwed because I got a ton of glue all over the floor. Also gonna check out what's going on with these white ones. There's tons of these all over the place, and see whether it's worth my while to also take up these and use those on the floor, or if I'd be better off just leaving those right where they are. I'm not sure what exactly their purpose is, so I don't want to take them too many apart and find out that they actually are holding something important, whereas these black ones are pretty obvious. They're just holding these rings that I don't need. Alright, so I will continue investigating, and then it's going to be time to head off to this door. Alright, so I removed this one. I also took off that one and I put it back on. But both seem like they are a hole down into nothing. If I can get that right, you can see that just doesn't really look like it's really holding anything together there. These ones are the exact same size as the black ones that are holding on the D-rings. These other ones are smaller, so I'm gonna find a different size and take one of those off and check what's going on with those. Alright, so I popped out this one right here, and it seemed like when I was taking it out, like it was actually holding on something, so I was a little bit worried. But then when I got out, it's all nothing. And it also went underneath, just to confirm that there wasn't anything, loose and hanging out because of that. And if you look right there, that circle, where my finger is, can't point at it, but right there, that's where it came out of. And yeah, it looks like it is doing a whole bunch of nothing. You can see other spots where the small screws are, and I guess they're just there just to screw things into the body of the van. They just kind of pre-drill some stuff in there for you. So that's good to know. So I've got all 6 removed. So all I'm left with are this black bolts there. Still not sure what I want to do as far as screwing in the floor. Whether I want to use just the black ones, do all the larger ones, or do every single one, including those little smaller ones. I'm gonna figure that out. Also have to figure out what I'm doing with this situation over here. This is the kind of jack change your tire thing. And they kind of just got it here in the corners. It takes up a bunch of space here. It's pretty high, so it's too tall to where it would just go right within my kind of bench converting to bed kind of situation. So I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with that. I might just unbolt everything, put down the floor, maybe bolt down the jack itself since it's short, and then just all the tools that go along with it, just lay it along there and see if everything can fit in there along with my solar stuff in this area. Yeah, that's something I gotta figure out what I'm doing with that with. Alright, so I guess it is time to clean up some of this stuff here and head on over to Lowe's. Alright, so having a little issue here. See that whatever door is open, it's showing there. And all the lights, even though they're switched to the middle position, so they're only on when the door's open, they're all on. But I have slammed every single door shut repeatedly, and it is still just showing door open and all the lights are on. So I am going to have to contact Nissan about that. But anyway, we're at Lowe's. Alright, so picked this up. Turns out the one I have must be more like a 2-inch or something, because this is a 1-inch, and it looks like it'll be a decent size for Joel and Ann to be able to get the cord through. Unfortunately, their insulation selection is pretty terrible. All they really had was a bunch of that big, thick, I don't know, stuff that apparently is poisonous, and yet people still use in their house. I don't understand. But they don't have any pretty much any selection of like boards and stuff like that. It's very sparse, and it's not what I'm looking for. So I am going to I messaged people at Nissan about that light. There's a whole bunch of lights on there right now because I don't actually have it running. I just turned on the I don't know, electronics, whatever the hell you want to say it. But I don't have the engine running, so I'm gonna go get that checked out, and then on my way back I will swing by Home Depot and check out their insulation and wood selection. Alright, so just got done here at Nissan. Turns out that the side door, sliding one, it even if you slam the crap out of it, it can end up being open just the tiniest bit, and you can't even tell by the area where it closes. It's all the other side on the outside where you would notice that's slightly uneven, and so that's it. So now the light is gone. So yeah, alright, time to head to Home Depot and see what they got insulation wise. Alright, so here at Home Depot, hopefully you can hear me. So this is what you gotta watch out for when you're buying wood. Big crack in that one. On some of these, this isn't the first one I've seen like this, but they put putty over it, try to disguise that it's fucked up. So I've been here moving through all this fucked up wood, trying to find pieces that are actually worth $46. So I've been digging more, probably found a good one, and then there's a chunk that's in the right corner. So I mean, this is some of the nicest looking wood that I've seen here, but every piece is fucked up. So at this point I'm going to just move on to a different stack entirely, and if I can't find anything here, I'll just have to go to a different lumber place, because I'm not going to make my floors out of something that has hunks of wood out of it and cracks in it, especially this cost me $46 per sheet, and I gotta buy really 3 of these. So yeah. Alright, finally loaded up. I found some good wood, got the insulation for the floor there, and then some other stuff up in the front seat, stain, glue, paintbrush. Alright, so my plan is dark already. I am going to put the wood just up on one side, leaning against the wall, insulate. I want to stick it in all of the kind of dips in the floor. You see like there's high and low spots. Glue that in, and then move the wood to the other side, do the other side. Let that sit all there overnight. And then tomorrow, then I am planning on, hopefully, as long as everything's dry and good. It's very cold, as I've been talking about in this video. And the glue actually says it's recommended for 40 degrees and above. It doesn't say that it has to be above 40 degrees. So I'm just going for it, because I don't know when we're going to get a day that's above 40. So as long as it's all good tomorrow, then laying out a, basically sheet to cover everything then in the 1/4 inch. So then it's essentially going to be, 1/2 inch of insulation. Just some spots are going to have only 1/4, some are going to have half, depending on if it's a low or high spot. And then after that, the next step, which I doubt I'll get to tomorrow, or at least definitely not finish tomorrow, would be the wood, because I have to obviously get the whole layout cut into all the different spots, and I want to stain it all, and then install it all. So it's going to take some time. Alright, so first piece here, accidentally cut that a little too short in the end, so I'm just going to put another little piece there and glue it in. Cut hole for the bolts, messed up that one. That one, accidentally a piece moved, shifted down, so I cut it, and then realized that I couldn't get both bolts in there, so I had to put it back in the right position, and then now the hole's a little bit too big. So what I'm going to do is take the bolts out, put the glue down, stick down the insulation, and then put the bolts back in, so the bolts are on top of the insulation. And then essentially next time when I put the next layer of insulation, I'll kind of have to do the same thing where I take the bolts out and put them back in, so they are on top. And that's it. Okay, so first one is in. Something I decided that would be a better idea is, instead of making big holes for those, I am going to just make little like slits and then take out the bolts, and then that way when I put them in, they'll actually hold them in. This one kind of holds it in. This one's really just sitting in a big giant hole, so it's not really doing anything with the insulation. It is cold as hell, and the insulation keeps kind of popping up above the glue that I put on there. So we will see how well that works out in the long run, as far as I guess the rest of tonight and tomorrow. Alright, so I got probably like a quarter done. I didn't do anything on that half. I'm about like halfway through on this side, and I just am exhausted, and I'm coming down with a cold. It's not COVID. I already got a test a few days ago, but I just I need some time to go and relax, and wake up tomorrow and get back to it. Also have some other stuff to get done this weekend, cooking for the week and stuff like that. But get back to it. The glue doesn't seem to be doing a great job, but I'm not super concerned about it, because once I get the next layer of insulation and then obviously the wood itself on top, I'm not really all that concerned about how well this is held down. This is really just to hold it down so it doesn't, blow away when I open and close the doors and I'm moving around in here. So as long as it holds down enough for that, that works for me.
Alright, so Sunday, day 3. I guess I just tried too hard yesterday in the cold, and I am sick. I've been in bed basically all day. So not a lot of work getting done today, that's for sure.